Cannondale has launched the 4th generation of the SuperSix Evo platform. For what is probably the worst kept secret of the year, it's great that we can finally delve into the detail and find out what the new bike is all about and put an end to the constant speculation. I was also lucky enough to actually ride the bike, so later in the video, I'll be able to bring you my first ride impressions. Be sure to stick around for those. First off though, let's get into the nitty-gritty detail. What really is the new SuperSix all about? Well, I think we best start with the thing which has been the source of so much speculation, the mysterious LAB71. Simply put, Cannondale have unlocked a new echelon of bikes above HiMod, which was their previous range-topping offering. LAB71 has come in and put the HiMod moniker into second place. So, a bike wearing the LAB71 logo will make use of a new carbon fibre layup, which Cannondale are calling their Series 0 layup. Now, I think it's fair to expect that LAB71 logo to be popping up on more bikes, so think System 6 LAB71s, Topstone LAB71s, etc. And I wouldn't be surprised if that moniker stretches all the way into their mountain bike range. The new carbon layup is promising to be lighter than ever before, and this is resulting in the range-topping Dura-ace LAB71 SuperSix in a 56cm frame size coming in at the UCI weight limit of 6.8 kilos. However, there is a little bit more to it. That's the bike as a full build. If you look at just the finished painted frame, the difference between the LAB71 and the HiMod is just 40 grams. To put this into even more context, if you look at their 3rd tier layup, which is simply called their carbon line, the painted frame comes in at 930 grams, so obviously there's a much bigger gap there. You can usually play a bit of new bike bingo on any launch, and so far we've ticked off a big one: less weight. But what about the others? Is it more aero? Of course it's more aero. Cannondale are claiming that the new 4th generation is 12 watts faster at 45 kilometers an hour or 28 miles an hour than the 3rd generation. And this is thanks to some new tube profiles, which in some parts look flatter and more stretched out. One thing Cannondale were pretty keen to make clear is that the bike was developed as a whole, and all of the parts that the bike comes with were optimized around the frame. So the seat post, the wheels, the bottles, the bottle cages, and the integrated bar and stem were all developed at the same time. In my opinion, it did give them quite a few places where they could tweak things to find that extra speed. I'll touch on some of the key improvements. Yes, those bottles are now aero and currently are still UCI legal, but as we all know, that could change at the drop of a hat. The new R50 wheels are, unsurprisingly, 50mm deep, and different bike builds come with either the SL or S versions, with the difference mainly coming down to weight. The bar and stem, well, that's slightly more interesting. Eagle-eyed viewers may have spotted this MOMO design logo on the side of the bars. So what's that all about? Well, Cannondale says that it's partnered up with the automotive brand MOMO to create a new cockpit. In my opinion, this really is just a bit of marketing. Cannondale has it well within their ability to create the bar themselves, and really, it just looks like they've licensed the MOMO logo to create a bit of a narrative. I will say this, the crazy paving garden path pattern on the top of the bars could split opinion amongst buyers, but it is certainly eye-catching. Along with the new handlebars comes a new D-shaped steerer, which aids in the integration process and helps slim down the head tube, a vast improvement on the 3rd generations. So, we've checked off the aero box in our game of new bike bingo, but what about stiffness? That is always a common one. Well, here, Cannondale aren't claiming any improvement. They say it's just as stiff as the 3rd generation, and in my opinion, that is absolutely fine. I owned the 3rd generation of the bike, and not once did I ever think, oh, this would be better if it was stiffer. So quite frankly, I think they made a good call here. In terms of changes, that really is it, bar some very small details. For example, the bike now takes a 68mm threaded BSA bottom bracket. The steering stops have been removed, which is great, and the Di2 battery is now mounted low down in the down tube, just above the bottom bracket. And Cannondale will no longer be making a 60cm or a 62cm frame. Instead, they'll just be making a 61cm for simplification. But that's about it. As mentioned earlier, the stiffness has stayed the same, as has the geometry, as has the tyre clearance at 34mm. When you look at both third and fourth generations together, they aren't a world apart. It feels much more like a 3.5 generation has been released rather than an all-new bike. They've taken everything that was wrong with the third generation and corrected it, and the result is something which now is a lot more enticing. So that's all the techie stuff out of the way, but what's it like to ride? Well, no surprises here. It feels like the old SuperSix. I'm never going to claim that I could feel the 12-watt increase in efficiency. I'm sure I only hit the magic 45 kilometers an hour a handful of times. The bike still embodies everything that was good about the third generation. It climbs well, the wheels are easy to spin up, and the bike feels good at low speeds. And if you want to open up the taps and push it further down the road, well, it's only going to invite you to do that. Quite frankly, for a bike which has the third generation SuperSix as its prelude, it was never going to be bad. It's very hard to find any criticism with the ride itself. What about prices then? Well, here's a graphic to show you the worldwide pricing. There's a couple of key things to note. Yes, it is a lot of money. The previous top-end HiMod retailed at £11,500, but now the new top-end HiMod comes in at £10,500, and the LAB71 has come in at £12,500. Builds start at £6,250 here in the UK, and that will be for a 12-speed Ultegra Di2 option, and you can get the bike with the new SRAM Force for an extra £500. The bikes have a smattering of paint options, the majority of which look pretty smart. Availability is going to differ across the globe, but if you're after a LAB71 bike, then do be quick because they're only being produced in limited quantities. What do you think about the new SuperSix Evo 4? For me, it represents an evolution rather than anything groundbreaking and new. But as all bike brands hone in on what looks to be the best bike design for the majority of roads, I guess it's inevitable that the jumps in progression will become ever smaller and those designs will start to look even more similar. Of course, the limits of physics and the UCI are the same for everyone. If you enjoyed the video, then please do drop it a like, subscribe to the channel for more content, and I'll see you again very soon.